Okay, this is the Reaper Bones Owlbear, and I primed him up with Stynylrez Red primer, mixed a little bit of brown paint in it, using a Games Workshop base, big square base I had from probably something Skaven, and I put it on the base and then put some ballast and stuff on it to try to blend everything in. So there's the gray primer. I usually put it in a small container, and I mixed some of this burnt umber in with it. Afterwards I went back and did a second coat. Prior to doing the priming, I had to make sure I filled some gaps. So if you've assembled this thing, you'll have to green stuff some of the gaps. So what we'll do is we'll start out with the Vallejo Model Air light brown, and we're just going to do a bunch of dry brushing. And I mean a bunch of dry brushing. So I probably spent, I don't know, 15-20 minutes dry brushing this. Just taking my time, making sure all the edges got caught as I was going along. Sometimes you have to kind of hit it from different angles to get, the detail to show up. But just take your time and have fun with it, and eventually you'll get there. I was going with kind of the snowy owl look here, so I wasn't too concerned about it, but this is kind of where I stopped and decided to start working a different color. Not bad. So this is US flat brown, and I'm going to do some dry brushing right along the edge of the wing. It's where it kind of looks leathery, just getting some different color variations in there. Just take your time and have fun with it and enjoy the painting process. Trying to basically put this in a location besides the whole leathery spot there on the wings. I'm also putting it in places where maybe I want a little bit of shading, a little extra shading. A lot of back and forth action here. A lot of times, I don't just specifically pick, okay, I'm going to work on the arm here. I'll pick the arm, and as I'm working along with a certain color, I'll say, oh, well, I want to put it in this location. And I just kind of work my way around the model like that. And that's what we got so far. So this is Vallejo Game Air like hexed lichen, and it's a deep dark purple. I'm gonna mix some US blue gray in there, and this is just some black. And I made that mixture because I didn't want a stark black for the nails, but I wanted something fairly dark that maybe if you caught it in the right kind of light, you could see like a cool, like a blue purple color to it. So that's what we're doing. We're painting his nails, doing up the claws. I've seen some people paint this guy up with claws that were more of a bone color. Given that I'm going with kind of a lighter color scheme on him, kind of figured, the dark claws would make a good contrast. And so what I'm doing right here is I'm painting the whole eye with that same color. I want to get it nice and black for future paintwork. And that's where we're at so far. This is Vallejo Model Air wood color, and we're going to paint it or use it to paint the beak. it's kind of an orangish color, and so I wanted to use it as the base color for the beak. Now I'm putting the initial coat down, but I think I ended up putting about 2 or 3 coats to get good coverage. Your mileage may vary. And that's after a couple coats. And for the tongue, we're going to use Vallejo Game Air Gory Red, and just get it a little bit on the end of your brush and get it in there. Paint his tongue. I think I had to do a couple coats on this as well. Don't be afraid to move the model around in your hand to get to the spaces you need to. This is Vallejo Game Air Sun Yellow. And I'm going to start doing some highlight work on the beak. Kind of catching the edges, feathering it out a little bit so it blends in with the other color. Being careful not to paint it over the whole beak, just on the parts that I want to catch that highlight. And we're going to take some Vallejo Model Air White and I'll mix it in with the previous color. And we're going to do some more extreme highlighting just on the edges of the beak. On the extreme edges. On the extreme edges of the beak. Or however the radio announcers would say it. This was a really fun model to paint. Again, if you make a mistake like I just did right there, just you know, if you can find it in time, just do a little quick wipe off with your finger or with a wet brush and move on. Make the most of it. So now we're going to go back in with pretty much a pure white, and this is the extreme edging. I really don't know how those guys talk like that, but they get paid for it, so. Just getting the tip of the beak, maybe a couple key spots on the edge of the beak, something that kind of draws the eye. That's a sharp beak. And that's what we got so far. So we're going to take the US Gray Blue, or Blue Gray, and we're going to do the edge highlighting on the nails. And I'm just kind of doing this where I think maybe light would be catching on them. It may look a little gaudy at first, but just stay tuned. We'll do some stuff in a future stage that knocks it down a little bit. I'm just going to go over all the little nails and spiky bits that he's got there and just draw those edges out. And it kind of looks like that when you're done. Now we're going to do the eyes. This was the fun part. So I thought about a couple different ways of doing it. And initially I started out just drawing a circle. A nice wide circle. And I left a little dot in the middle. And then when I tried to do it with the other eye, he looked like one eye was pointing one direction, one eye was pointing the other. And maybe owls can do that, but I kind of wanted him focused on whatever was in front of him. So I widened the one side out and then got an idea where the one eye was pointing and where do I put this, this pupil, to make it look like the other one. And then I started widening everything out there so that it looked like he was really, wide-eyed and coming at you. Or maybe it's a she. We don't know, right? So this color is Orange Fire by Game Air, Vallejo. And it took a couple coats, but I used the white as a base, so I expected that. So basically I would paint one eye and then go over and paint the other eye and maybe hit it with a hairdryer for 20-30 seconds and then come back and do it again until I got the color of orange that I was looking for. And all I did was just Google pictures of owls. Some owls had yellow eyes, but I really liked the way the orange eye looked, in contrast to the yellow beak and the fur and the nails and everything else. The orange really just stuck out. Kind of digging it, And oops, I got some right on the black. So I took a little bit of black and I dotted the eye again just to make it stick out better. Like what our favorite artist always used to say, there's never mistakes, just happy accidents. So you just learn from them and move on. So what we'll do, or what you can do, I think I did it on this one, is I took some clear gloss coat and I glossed the eyes. I think I did it after using this brown liner by Reaper to kind of line the underside of the eye. Just makes them pop out more. And then anywhere I got a little bit of, maybe I got a chunk of orange paint on there, I decided I was going to dry brush it out, and I thought, well, why don't we just make the face look a little more white? And so I got my dry brush color of the light tan or light brown and kind of brought the face out a little more. So we're going to take the Citadel Nuln oil, and I got some old school Azurman blue. It's a blue wash, and I did a mix of the two. And what we're going to do is take that and add a little bit of water to it so it's more of a glaze, and we're going to go over all of the highlighted nails and claws. And what that does is it knocks that color down, that edge highlighting down a tad. Do it to taste, but when you're done you get something a little like that. I really like how he came out. The claws look really good. And again, I decided, after looking at pictures of owls, some of them have like, you know, white tipped tails. So I went ahead and did the tail and the edges of the wings to bring them out a little more. Did I mention I like painting this model? I do. This Reikland flesh shade we're going to use to hit the leathery part of the wing. And I'm actually going right up into some of the feathers or fur, whatever that is, just to get a different variation of color there. Kind of makes the wing and the arms stand out. That's my theory anyway. And it's not, I'm not going hog wild on it. I'm not dousing it. Now we're going to take a little different color. This is a Seraphim Sepia, and I'm going to use it to go into any of the recesses and just deepen that shade a little bit. Especially on areas like around the face where there's, you know, a pronounced area, and I want that area to pop like the feathers and right around the edge of the face. Notice I'm not just slopping it on. I'm being very particular about where I'm putting this wash. You got to paint the owlbear butt. And I'm going to get right on the back side of the arm here, so to further emphasize where the arm is located, and that lighter colored feathers and whatnot. And if you get too much in a certain area, you just dry it off and then come back in with your dry brush of your original color, and you can fix it easily. And that's kind of where we're at. I'm kind of digging this. I really like the eyes especially. And then after everything was all said and done, I thought, well, I'll put a little bit of flock on it and paint the base, and I'm kind of digging it. He's ready to maul a helpless party of adventurers. So what do you think of the video? If you like this video, leave a comment in the comments field down below, and of course hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, click the subscribe button. Of course, hit that little bell next to that subscribe button on my channel, on my main page, and you'll get notifications whenever I make a new video. Doing live streams every Sunday about 5:30, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Been doing some work on Twitch. You see behind me is my 2-monitor setup that I'm getting ready to hook up to my new streaming machine. And so we'll be doing some more work on Twitch, and that link should be in the description field, and it might even be on my main page. So it's all under Engineer Jeff. So the next video, I've got a battle report that I did for 8th edition Warhammer 40k, Tyranids versus Raven Guard, I think. And then following that, I'm going to do a Hobby 101 video going over some of the tools that we use, you know, not brushes or paint. And then after that, we're going to do another tutorial. We're going to start rocking them out. So stay tuned. Again, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.